So, good morning. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV. As we wake up to the day after the night before, the sobering news that Daniel Levy is no longer the chairman of Tottenham Hotspur. And it feels very strange, doesn't it? Because he has been the topic of many conversation. Many conversation always points back to Daniel Levy. All roads lead home, with Daniel Levy being home. He's been the one constant, hasn't he? He's been the one constant for 25 years. Multiple managers, something like 18 or 19 managers, 7 or 8 directors of football. Players, they come and they go, physio teams, medical teams. Everything changes. But you, I believe, was a Take That song. Was that Take That? Who knows? Who cares? It's early morning here. Everything changes but Daniel Levy. Well, that's now changed. So waking up and in reflection, it got me thinking, having been on the Spurs 5 last night, it's strange, isn't it, that even when he leaves, the division that this man has caused, I can't think of any other chairman with a tenure like this that has caused such division. And I'm going to be asking this morning, is it fair? Is that division fair? Now, there are many people that thought Daniel Levy has done a wonderful job. And we know, as I said, 25 years is a long time. It's a long sample size. For example, you can look at Roman Abramovich and what did he do? 10 years maybe at Chelsea? I don't know. Sorry, 20 years at Chelsea, 18 years, I don't know, whatever he did. And you can say unmitigated success. You can say that because Chelsea won it all. You can look at other chairmen and say, well, they've only had 2 to 3 years. How are you judging them? Look at the Aston Villa new owners. You could say, what a success. The last 3-4 years, Villa have got better and better and better and better. They were a yo-yo team. Now they're established. I don't know. But Daniel Levy, 25 years is one hell of a long time, isn't it? And in any reign, in any walk of life, in 25 years, you are going to have ups and you are going to have downs. And I guess the question is for any Spurs fan to ask themselves the question, and this is an individual thing. I can't answer this for anybody. I can only give the truth to the best of my ability. I guess the question is, how do you feel about the reign? Was it more success than failure? Was it more failure than success? And the question I always come back to is this. Why were the Spurs fan base so divided? Why were they so divided about Daniel Levy? Did he have successes? Of course he did. Did he have failures? Of course he did. Multiple failures. But why were the fan base so divided? Why even last night? Some people going, oh, grass is greener. Be careful what you wish for. We don't know what we're going to get. Hey, who knows? And then you get other people saying, God, this is amazing. Independence Day. We've got our Tottenham back. Now, I don't think either party can particularly ever be called wrong because it's always in the eye of the individual beholder, right? Now, as a football fan, purely on the pitch, purely driving the club forward from buying top players and really wanting to go to be a top club, I do think there was a lot of failure on that side from Daniel Levy's part. I do. Whilst I'm not as hardcore as other people, and I don't think that every single thing that happened was terrible, I do feel that in that 25 years, Daniel Levy had multiple opportunities to kick on. And that, for me, was the biggest failure of his tenure. If we look at some examples, we can say, and I'll give you some good examples in a minute, by the way, but we can look at Harry Redknapp's team. Harry Redknapp came in. He didn't only steady the ship, he made it a very good ship to be aboard, didn't he? He came in, the players loved playing for him. Tottenham were playing some good stuff. We were hard to beat. I think we lost 1 game at home in that season. And we were fighting for top 4, and we got top 4 for the first time under Harry. We then got it again, but unfortunately didn't make the Champions League because of the then ruling, with Chelsea beating Bayern Munich to steal the 4th place, so to speak. But under Harry Redknapp, you had that opportunity where I believe we were going into January, the turn of January, we were going in something like 3rd, and we were very close to the top 2. We were playing well. We had a good team, and everyone's saying, right, kick on. Levy, kick on. Go and buy what the manager wants. And we're always led to believe, isn't it, that famous story? We're led to believe that at the time it was Tevez, Carlos Tevez and Gary Cahill, obviously a top centre half and a top striker. And everyone, I remember at the time, I remember clearly everyone going, if we get Tevez, if we get Cahill, we're going to win this league. We're going to be brilliant. We're going to be a force. But we didn't. We went for Ryan Nelson and Louis Saha. And at the time, I just remember being, this is Levy. And looking back on it now, you still say, this is Daniel Levy, right? This is what he's known for. And this is where my frustration with the man has always been. My frustration has always been in those pivotal moments. Did he kick on? Martin Jol, if we're going to go back before Redknapp, Martin Jol, when he came in, really made us a good team, didn't he? He took over what was, let's be fair, a bit of a mess, a bit of a shit show. Made us stabilise, made us a good team. And we didn't kick on again. We just did not kick on. Then obviously the whole Martin Jol, was he sacked at half time? Was he not? I was at the game. Believe it or not, I was at the game. And all the reports started coming around at half time that Martin Jol's been sacked. And we're all sitting there going, what's going on? What do you mean he's been sacked? He's there. We can see him. He's just come out for the second half. And then lo and behold, at the end of the game, it turned out Martin Jol had indeed been sacked. And then the final example of that I can give, that the biggest example of that has to be Mauricio Pochettino. Now, love him, hate him, whatever, whether you think he had to go when he did or he didn't. This man got a second, third, fourth, third, whatever it was. This man got us playing some of the best attractive football in the league. He got us in the Champions League every season. And he made players better, which might have been his own downfall. And there were times where he said, right, come on, add 2 or 3 quality players. And we never did. He had the 11, didn't he? He had the famous 11 of Lloris, Walker, Alderweireld, Vertonghen, Rose, Dembele, Wanyama, Eriksson, Ali, Son, Kane. The 11 writes itself. But then after that, you start looking, what was the depth? Now, there were some decent players. Eric Dyer at the time was decent. Llorente, Lucas Moura, you know, Davinson Sanchez actually at the time came in and was very good whenever he played alongside Alderweireld and Vertonghen. But it wasn't what the Chelseas were doing or the Liverpools or the Arsenals or the Cities, was it? It wasn't, yeah, let's get 17, 18 really good players. And some might call it a miracle. Poch actually got us to a Champions League final, got us to second, got us unbeaten at home for a season. But to go back to the point, he just never kicked on, did he? He never, ever kicked us on. And there were Nkudus and Njis. There were players like Gedson Fernandez coming. Sorry, not Gedson Fernandez. He was Jose Mourinho. There were players coming in of that ilk where you look and you say, did Levy do all he can? And for me, he didn't. But let's look at the flip side. Daniel Levy did build the best stadium in the United Kingdom. Some say the world. Now, depending on how much you care about infrastructure, depends on how much you care. Some will say, well, hang on, Daniel Levy has built the stadium that allows the next chairman to actually take us from there to there. And that could be a gripe thrown at Daniel Levy, right? That you built it to get it there, so why didn't you kick on to there? But Daniel Levy built that. So does he deserve credit? Does he deserve plaudits for that? Daniel Levy got us a Europa League, the first Europa League in 40 odd years, right? The first Europa League for 41 years or whatever it was. Does he deserve credit for that? Does he get any credit for that? He got us to a Champions League final. Now, again, you've got to have, depending on which side of the fence you sit. Some people are saying, no, it was only Pochettino that done that. Other people saying, well, hang on, he gave Pochettino the squad that got us to a Champions League final. So all of these different things, he got a League Cup as well. And what will be thrown at him will be 2 trophies in 25 years. Now, I'm not as tough on him on that because I do believe that there were managers that messed up in finals. I look at Glenn Hoddle against Blackburn. Spurs should have won that. I look at Pochettino in finals. I think he really messed up. But in general, you would say that he probably didn't back these managers enough to kick on, to make a legacy. So it's an interesting one, isn't it? And again, I say it all depends on the side of the fence you sit on. How much credit does he deserve? Is it 50-50? Did he take over a team that weren't finishing top 4 every season for the 25 years before he joined? And you should be going, well, Well done, Daniel. Look what you've turned us into. Has he turned us into a club that can afford top players like Xavi Simons now and Kudus? Or is that just a byproduct of the Premier League and the wealth that's come into the league in the last 2 decades? I don't think there's a right. I don't think there's a wrong. I just think it's interesting to reflect on this. What I do know is that Daniel Levy has gone. The king is dead. Long live the king, as they say. It may be one of those where for the next year people celebrate, but then after that, maybe they look back and say, well, was he that bad? It may be one of those where people don't celebrate for the next year, but then in a year's time turn around and go, oh, actually, this new chairman or chairwoman is much better than Daniel Levy. This is going to be one of those finger in the air for the moment, and we'll see what happens. But it is interesting. It is never, ever a dull day at Tottenham Hotspur. Let's remember that. It's never a dull day. Sitting here, planned my holiday around international break, and then the biggest news for the last couple of decades drops. Daniel Levy has left the building. Now, has he left the building completely? We don't know. We know that he's no longer the chairman, but will he still be involved in the marketing, the corporate side of it, the promotions, the finances, partnerships? I don't know. It's early days. It's less than 24 hours. But we're going to find out. Now, I'm going to do another video later, and that video is going to be about moving forward with Charrington, moving forward with Vinay. But I want to get your take on this. So as I wrap up this video, let me ask you this. 1, give Daniel Levy a score out of 10 for his 25-year tenure. 2, why are Spurs fans still, after 25 years, so divided on the man? And 3, what's your overriding feeling in one word? Is it elation? Is it joy? Is it sadness? Is it bitterness? What's your one word that describes how you're feeling this morning, waking up, that Daniel Levy has left? As always, come on, you Spurs.